You know, but I've said this on the show that in in the old days, probably back in the medieval days, the a teacher, a reverend, and a musician were all kind of in the same field. They were, I mean, it was like they were considered professionals, just like doctors, lawyers. And, you know, it was a profession that you were going to do. You know, now you say, I want to be a musician. It's like, oh, great, you know, you and everybody else.
I think it changes a lot, like, even like you were saying, like, you know, even in the 60s, for as far as I can understand, that we're still that kind of mentality by people that didn't necessarily play, but really admired it, that they have the standing and they do have this approach to work, even if they are kind of, you know, going off and partying and stuff. It's like, you know, this respect, and I think it's come down a lot with just everything that's come out with it's so easy to record at home. You know, it may not be that tip-top professional recording, but it's so easy to at least put out something that you can be relatively happy with. And I think because there's so much out there that it's easy to say to an extent that anyone can do it. But let's hope the industry takes a little turn back.
Yeah, you know, my dad was a musician, and he, you know, there was a big creative, out of the 60s and 70s, this creative period of music that I still listen to now, and I go, it's just amazing that all this great music, and then disco kind of came along and killed a lot of that.
Oh, I don't know about that. I have a really deep, dark longing for disco. I love it. I love the bell bombs. I love the feathered hair. I love the Bee Gees. I love it all. It's just, like, too much.
Yeah.
I think the 80s killed it for me.
Yeah.
As much,
well, the hair bands.
David Bowie was good, you know. Yeah. Then the 90s, early 90s weren't bad, but, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Just,
there's, and in the industry, as a young artist, the internet is probably a big part of what you do.
Oh yeah, world's largest marketing tool, easy.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the marketing stuff that you've done on your own.
I try and read as much as I can. I've been lucky enough to be mentored by really fantastic people. My teachers from Berkeley were like Chris Stone, who has worked with Jimi Hendrix. You know, George Howard, who invented a TuneCore. You know, Michael King's been a producer for years, and people like that, and who are just so inspiring because they have these careers that are so long-lasting. You know, they have momentum behind them. They haven't petered out. And I learned a lot from that. And I guess, you know, with marketing, my approach is to it, because I know, you know, there is some of that mentality that people say, well, you know, marketing, if the music's good, it'll stand up for itself, which is true, but it won't stand up for itself if no one's hearing it. You know, I don't care how loudly you play in your basement, not everyone's going to hear it if you just play in your basement. That said, you know, if you invite people into your basement and you make a big event out of it, you know, you're just trying to share it with as many people, and for an artist, that's, you know, that's why touring's ideal, and that's why it's great that it's coming back as such a main source of income for artists, because what better way to expose your music to people than traveling around and bringing it to them. I mean, with the marketing, I really enjoy it. I mean, that's why I opened the record label, Janko Records, because it's fun, and it's interesting to see what artists other than yourself are like. You know, they all have their niche quality. It's interesting to see even what the fans come back and say. You know, working with bands and seeing the audience, and being on that other side and seeing the audience really react instantly to them, like that sudden even change in their composure and their face and their body language to a song they really connect with. And there's so much out there with, you know, Facebook and YouTube and MySpace, and it's wonderful, and it's like the creative process. It's wonderful and horrible at the same time, because so much is out there. And in a sense, I feel like us as musicians have almost become a little bit sloppy, because we're willing to we're so excited and we're so happy with this technology that, and so much is given to us, like Facebook. You know, you no longer necessarily have to make a web page with, like, it's always good to have your own URL, but I mean, make a website with, where people can sign a guest book and has a hits counter and everything, because you can just like a page on Facebook.
Just link to everything else.
Exactly, and you know, use your URL mainly as just a hub. And I think, as great as it is, it almost inhibits us from having to be on our toes and being like, you know what, making something out of nothing. You know, I'm limited in my resources. You know, before it was, I don't have enough money to put out a print ad. I don't have enough money to, for, on average, it was, I don't have enough money to do that. I don't have enough money to go into the studio. What can I do to get creative in the marketing sense and to push that music out there that's really going to make it latch on?
Do you think that social media stuff like Facebook and all that is really viable? Have you used that and actually seen people, show up at your shows because you've used it, or do you think
of course.
Okay.
I mean, let's hope people are listening in because I put it on my Facebook status. But yeah, no, I mean, the Facebook events are great. You can invite your entire list. When you have hundreds of friends on Facebook, you never know that's just who's in the area. Like, if I was just doing it by hand and inviting people and going up to each one, I may think, I'm not going to invite that person because, oh, well, they're at university and they're not in the area. They could happen to be in the same town I'm in. My friend from Virginia is actually coming to one of my shows in New York, and I had no idea that he would be able to get down, and it's just through that kind of stuff and putting it out there. And it's really great to see when you put up something that you're excited about, like, something like this, I'm playing on WNJR, I'm playing the show, I'm doing this, and seeing people react and like and comment it, and not just in a very, like, it's very personal, it's very, not just that they wanted to be like, oh yes, I support you, because, the majority of people will, the majority of people are going to be kind and a great base underneath everything, but it's seeing their reaction, and everybody has such a different take on everything, of course, and being able to see it and have it cataloged and detailed in such a way that's so easy to understand and it's so easy to keep track of. I mean, it's a brilliant thing. Yeah.
One of the sites, and I'm not plugging any site or anything like that, they don't sponsor or pay me, but well, Artist Data was bought by Sonic Bids, and that was like what a great idea, because you go one place, you go one place, and then you can put all the data in, and it just puts it out everywhere from your events and Facebook, and it kind of puts it all together. And those guys had a great idea, because I was just spending so much time entering everything everywhere, like, okay, MySpace, Reverb Nation, Facebook, and it's like, and now there's Bandcamp, now there's all these different sites that you're trying to maintain, and I'm from like old school, I'm going to put up flyers everywhere, and I don't even think that, that still is viable, because people go to coffee houses, they see flyers. So now
it's a totally different market.
Yeah, so now, then I find myself going, what about the songwriting? I've got all this stuff to do, promotion-wise, and it's like, I need to be writing songs.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the whole reason I opened up the record label is because, I had the same feeling, like it's so hard to do both, and I felt like, if I can help an artist and alleviate that workload so they can focus more on the songwriting, that they're going to have that focus, and if I can take that weight off a little bit and handle that, then maybe it'll help. And that was kind of the mentality I went into with it.
Cool. We have probably enough time for one more song, if pretty close, maybe two, depending on what you have for us. But
I have two. I could play two. I have one that's brand new and one of that's my staples.
Okay, I think we have another show coming up, so we try to get out of here like at 5 till. But what do you have in mind for us? What do you want to play for us?
Yeah, your pick. Honestly.
Oh, my pick.
I cannot choose. It's a brand new song or staple song.
You play whatever you want. Okay. Think of it. What would you do for say your closer?
Oh, I'm going to let my team decide. You pick, team.
Brand new.
Brand new.
New.
Okay, new. Either way, I have to tune back. So.
Okay.